My people, my people, my people, my people, my people. This is St. Vincent the Grenadines' favorite and most hated son, the diaspora machismo. I am coming live today again. We have some important things to talk, my people, my people, my people, my people. While I just talk randomly, I am taking this time out to invite some people to view this live Facebook broadcast today. Now, the citizens of St. Vincent the Grenadines are planning to take to the streets tomorrow in protest at the Parliament building in Kingstown, St. Vincent the Grenadines. The Parliament building tomorrow at 9 a.m. tomorrow morning. People, if you're going to hang out with me for the next couple of minutes, please share this video and let us talk about the people's business. It's a little later than I normally come, but I was busy doing some running about today, so I got tied up. So my people, my people, my people, my people, my people, it is time for us to talk the business of St. Vincent and the Grenadines. So if you're going to hang out with me for the next couple of minutes, please share this video. Share this video while we discuss the business of Haruna, the home of the blessed, Yahweh, Yahweh, the land where my father's from. Let us talk St. Vincent the Grenadine business, right? So if you're going to hang out with me for the next couple of minutes, let us put this thing into perspective. People, remember the protest tomorrow. It is not a political vote. We against them. This is the people's voice. The people are going to be speaking tomorrow by their presence in Kingston, in the country of St. Vincent the Grenadines, at 9 a.m. in front of the Parliament building. What we expect from our parliamentarians, we're going to learn that and more, right? Why are the St. Vincent and the Grenadines community finding it important to hold this protest tomorrow? I'm going to say massive protest because it has to be massive. Why? Because it is a protest for justice. You understand? It's not a protest for belly full. It's a protest for justice. When public officers are given the opportunity to hold public office, there's a certain degree of quorum that is expected of them, and when they lose that, we cannot just sit by idly and just allow things to go like business as usual. So people, if you're going to hang out with me for the next couple of minutes, right? Please share this video. I have 13 people online right now. 13 people online. So if you're going to be here with me for the next couple of minutes, just share this video. Let us start the business of St. Vincent the Grenadines. Let me know where you're watching from, people. And if you share, let me know when you share. Neil Knights, good day, bro. Neil, I hope I see you out there too. I hope you're going to send or tag me with some pictures tomorrow to let me know that you're protesting. Neil Knights, I'm talking to you. Mine Barber, you just arrived. Nice to have you, mine. Right? So if you're going to be hanging out with me for the next couple of minutes, please share this video. Let us see if we could drum up enough support for that protest that they're going to be having tomorrow. Tony, nice to have you, Tonya, Gunny, Christopher, UCB Hines. Right? Nice, Neil. Neil is going to be there. That is one man who done qualify his appearance. So if you're going to be there, please share this video. Let me see if we could drum up a little more support for the protest tomorrow. Right? Now, tomorrow, which is May the 11th. Viva Amo. Viva Amo, what's the matter with you? We don't do that. We don't have that discussion earlier today. I say my piece, you say your piece. Mr. Cottle. Mr. Cottle. Washington, D.C. is in the house. Watching from Viva Amo is somewhere in the United States of America. Nil Night, St. Vincent and the Grenadines. Let me know where you're watching from, people, and share this video so we could jump up a little support here. You understand? Jay and Hector McDonald is watching. Jen, where you watching from? Let me know where you're watching from. Mine Barber have already shared. Mine is one of my frontline supporters, one of my troopers, one of my soldier, right? Tonya Gunny Christopher have already shared. She is in New York City, right? Mine Barber, our Vincentian Canadian sweetheart, has already shared. We have Ricardo Watson, St. Vincent and the Grenadines. Ricardo, I hope you are going to be at that protest tomorrow. I know my cuz have to be there. Neil Knight, you're right. Today, Mr. John. Tomorrow, it would be anyone. If you're here, today it's Mr. John. Tomorrow, it can't be anyone. This protest was organized not by Annie Eustace, not by Dr. Friday, not by Leacock, not by Cummins, not by Bramble. This protest was organized by the people of St. Vincent and the Grenadines. Because what have happened? Mr. John, no one knows which political party he supports. But this man was taken advantage of in his own home. People trespass, not just people, government employees in their official capacity trespassed on Mr. John's property at Diamonds. Not only have they trespassed, because trespass is a crime that is related to land. Not only did they trespass, they enter into his home, which is now burglary. When they enter, let me tell you something, people. This is a serious thing, you know. When you enter onto somebody's land, it is trespassing. It is a serious crime, right? But these people did more than trespass. They enter into Mr. John's private residence uninvited. Not only that, they enter onto his residence with the intention of committing a crime. That is burglary, right? You ask any lawyer, ask Kebakas, ask Christopher, who was responsible. You understand? So what they did, the burglary is anytime you trespass into somebody's property, home, business, enclosed area with the intent to commit a crime, an offense. That is burglary. So what these people did, most people think that burglary is an offense when you trespass to steal. Anytime, that is just one classification of burglary. Anytime you enter, Watson, Ricardo have already shared. Watson, if you want to come live, let me know. Send a request if you want to come live. Right? When you enter somebody's property, personal home, in the enclosed part of their homes, right? To commit an offense, or when you commit an offense there, it is burglary. It's not about stealing. It's about committing any act of criminal offense. So what they did is an act of burglary, right? And in burglarizing the man place, to it, assault with a deadly weapon. You understand? And this is just a simple fact. This is just the simple fact, right? Jane, Veron James is listening from the Grenadines. Nice to have you. Michael Brown, I see you in New York and you're watching. Nice to have you. Robert Cosby in Florida. Nice to have you. Nice. So this is just a simple fact, right? This is according to the laws of St. Vincent and the Grenadines. So when we have public officers who are endowed with particular power, especially the power to prosecute, who act as a prosecution on behalf of the state, right, is going onto people's private property, entering into people's private home, and committing serious offense, we cannot allow these people to just walk away scot-free, because they have an obligation to the same man, Mr. John, who they assaulted, who they shot, and who they threatened, right? Their responsibility as public officers is to provide service for people like Mr. John, not to take advantage of people like Mr. John. You understand? That is their paid responsibility. And anytime they go outside the scope of their duty, they must be made to pay for it. They must be made to pay for it. Recently, we had arrested a few police officers when they run afoul of the law. We charged them. We took them to court. They went through the preliminary investigation process, which is like the grand jury in the United States. During the preliminary investigation, the magistrate decided that there was enough evidence to commit the charges to be tried in the High Court. These people were tried, they were convicted, and a few of them is now sitting in the prisons of St. Vincent and the Grenadines. Let me tell you something. A degree, a university or a college degree does not make you more important than a police officer. If a police officer who was entrusted with upholding the laws of St. Vincent and the Grenadines run afoul of the law and is arrested, charged, prosecuted and convicted and is sent to prison, everyone else should be given the same treatment as the police, right? Especially when you are interested in a so-called higher responsibility than the police officers are. People share this video. Let me know when you share. I will interrupt and I will acknowledge you, right? So when we have a prime minister who is coming on national radio and social media and trying to prejudice the investigation, because these people are people who he appointed, these people are people who he may have molested, and he wants to protect them. We can't allow that. No one in St. Vincent is above the law. That is why John Public has seen it fit. John Public have seen it fit to lend their support, not just to Mr. John, but to you, who may fall victim to the unlawful act of people in authority, people who thinks that they are above the law. My people, my people, my people, all I'm trying to tell you, you need to go out and support this protest tomorrow. This is not Labour. This is not NDP. This is not Green Party, or this is not no political thing. This is just citizens who think Ashel Morgan and Mr. Nelson, DPP Nelson, should be held accountable for their actions. We are not talking about conviction. We are not talking about conviction. We are not talking about sending them to prison. All we are saying that as citizens of St. Vincent and Grenadines, the laws of St. Vincent and Grenadines must be applied equally, and they must be acted upon regardless of who are the offending parties. And that is simple. You cannot expect to lock up all these guys for example, last week, a young man was found with a gun. He did not discharge the gun. He did not use the gun. He did not threaten anyone with the gun. But he was found with a gun on his person on a minibus, I think. He was taken to court. He was tried. He was convicted. Now here we have two people with a license. Even if there's a licensed firearm, there are rules of engagement when it comes to the use of a licensed firearm. Did these people follow the rules of engagement? Who gave them the authority to trespass on Mr. John's property? Who gave them the authority to enter into Mr. John's home? Did Mr. John solicit that they shoot him in the leg because he wanted to experience what it's like to be shot? No, everything that these people did were unlawful, right? Were unlawful. All of their actions were unlawful, and they must be made to be held accountable, responsible for their actions. It's simple. It's simple. It is simple. Now, some people are saying they don't want the politician to go into court, to go into parliament tomorrow. People, it is important that the politician go into the house tomorrow. They have questions they need to ask. On a point of declaration here, let me declare. Moments before I did this video, I talked to Ricardo Watson, and I had a discussion with Ricardo upon this, and Ricardo and I agreed on this point. It is important that the politician go into the house tomorrow, because there are questions, very important and crucial questions, that needs to be asked. Whether they get an answer or not, it's not important. These questions need to be asked. Put Ralph Gonsalves, put dishonest Ralph Gonsalves and his parliament in a position he is. This question has to be asked. Answer needs to be given. And it is important that if they attempt to answer these questions, that this question be asked precisely, not vaguely, but precisely. The question must be tailored as such, that they leave no wiggle room, and ask close-ended questions so we can have a yes or no answer. You understand? Don't give them the wiggle room, because they will try to use their authority and their position to confuse the issue tomorrow in the house. So it is important that the opposition go into the house tomorrow. It is important that the opposition do their jobs tomorrow. It is important that the opposition ask their questions tomorrow on behalf, not the NDP, on behalf of the citizenry of St. Vincent and the Grenadines as it relates to what means of investigation are being taken place. We need to know who are responsible for investigating this matter. We need to know who is responsible, who was assigned the task of investigating this matter. Let me tell you something, people. There is no way somebody should not be charged in this case. Even though Mr. John invite them onto his property, which he didn't. Even though Mr. John invite them into his home, which he didn't. Even though Mr. John asked them to shoot him so he can experience what it is like to be shot, a crime was committed because Mr. John does not have the authority to give anyone the permission to commit a crime even against him. He does not have the authority, especially to commit a violence crime against himself. You cannot walk down the road and say, "Watson, chop me in the hand, chop off my hand." Because in doing so, then we will find Mr. John will have to go to the hospital and utilize the public funds to be treated. Not only to preserve life, the laws is set up to ensure that the public funds are properly utilized, not on foolishness where people are experimenting. If you had an accident, you had an accident. If you're a victim of a crime, you're a victim of a crime. But no one has the authority or the rights to ask you to inflict a wound upon them. It's a crime. It is a crime. You cannot justify that in the court of law. You understand? And if a person by chance say, "Chop off on my hand for me," automatically you have to denounce that person as crazy, and you do not have any authority to follow the instruction of a mentally ill person to inflict wound or harm against that person. People, simple things. So there is no how. These young lawyers who are supposed to be smart and sensible and have an understanding of the law are the most stupid people I've ever come across. What makes you think that you have the authority to trespass on a man's home, burglarize that man's home, and in your burglary of his home, inflict a grievous bodily harm on that man? What make you think you could do that and just walk away scot-free and all will be well and dandy? All will be well and dandy. You understand? And I have to say this. It seems like Leacock has finally grown a scrot. He has finally grown a scrot, because I heard him says that the opposition needs to get more assertive. More assertive. Leacock, you should have step up and say this long time. It seems like you are growing a scrot. Let me see how long before that scrot will mature and become a scrotum, where you can actually stand up and really start to represent the people of St. Vincent and the Grenadines the way they need to be represented. Let us see how long it's going to take for that scrot to mature and become a scrotum, where you can actually stand up and represent the people. Look where St. Vincent reached to, where John Public have to take matters in their own hands and organize a protest because the opposition cannot be trusted in looking out for their interests. This is what St. Vincent and the Grenadines reached to. From a vibrant opposition that will attack anything that seems to be illegal, immoral, or unethical, to an opposition who sit back and let everything happen to our people. How can we in the opposition, how can our politician allow, how can we as Vincent allow our opposition politician to slide so far away from a trend that was set by the great, the Honorable Arnhem Eustace, to now sit back and allow a government, an unscrupulous government, with a leader who is a criminal, who have been involved in criminal activities and have been supporting criminal activities for quite a while, to run roughshod upon the people of St. Vincent and the Grenadines, upon Haruna. People, if you are in a shelter, don't be afraid. They have to take care of you in the shelter. It is your constitutional rights. It is your democratic right to go out and protest whether or not you are in a shelter. Nobody can come and say, oh, you're being protested, you can't get no food. They can't do that. Because first thing, if you see what's happening in St. Vincent and the Grenadines, the food in the shelter is not prepared by and presented by the government. People all over the world are sending things for the shelters. So if you are in a shelter tomorrow, don't be afraid. Because guess what? They may come into the shelter and they may shoot you in your leg because they don't like the hairstyle you're wearing. What did Mr. John do? Nobody can tell the community why these two people saw it fit to go to his home and assault him. What did Mr. John do? What did Mr. John do that was deserving of his treatment? What could Ashel Morgan and Karim Nelson do in solving a problem that the police couldn't do? Tell me, people. This is all we are seeing. You understand? Right must prevail in St. Vincent and the Grenadines. Justice must prevail in St. Vincent and the Grenadines. The law must be allowed to go through the process. Because it's when we allow the abortion of the process of the law for people who are in authority, it marks the beginning of the end of peace and calm and tranquility. It means that we are going to have a renegade country where people are taking anti-Ralph Gonsalve raper. Right? 2007. She's a Ralph Gonsalve raper. Ralph Gonsalve confess and say he gave her a reassuring kiss. She said Ralph Gonsalve raped her and he sexually assaulted. Ralph Gonsalve confessed to the crime of sexual assault on Michelle Andrews, yet he was not made to be held responsible for his action. After that, what happened? Every Tom, Dick, and Harry refused to govern their passions. Things break loose in St. Vincent. The men who had unhealthy passions, who would have normally restrained themselves, stop restraining themselves. Now we start talking about rape culture, rape culture. Had it not been for Ralph Gonsalve's walking away scot-free after he raped, after the allegation of rape and sexual assault was made against him, and Michelle Andrews had no reason to lie, then we would not have been saddled and burdened with the problem that we now confront in St. Vincent and the Grenadines, where rape and sexual assault is now to the roof, where incest is now creeping in and becoming normal. So if you don't want St. Vincent to become like the wild, wild west, where everybody believe that they have to have a gun to protect themselves, and if you look at me wrong, I will shoot you. You have to ensure that Ashel Morgan and Karim Nelson are held accountable. Otherwise, things are going to get out of hand, where violence within our community is going to erupt in the same manner where rape, sexual violence has erupted after we allow grown men and women with common sense would have organized a rape rally in support of Ralph Gonsalves when Michelle Andrews was ridiculed when she walked the beat, doing her job, keeping St. Vincent and the Grenadines safe for all. People, if you allow this to happen, the chickens are going to come home to roost, and you won't be able to stand it. You won't be able to stand it. More of you will become Facebook activists because you'll be afraid to go outside and to protest. You understand? It's not about it's not about Ashel Morgan. It's not about these two young people. It's about allowing the system of justice to run its natural course so that we can have people being held accountable, people being held responsible for their actions, and people paying the cost for their actions. It is a shame that two of our professionals, trained professionals, would have stooped so low. Remember, this is not the first lawyer to get in trouble. We had Mark Williams. Mark Williams shoot down Miss Nurse Durham in front of the Central Police Station. Mark Williams was arrested. Mark Williams was tried. Mark Williams was a brilliant practicing lawyer. Ashel Morgan and DPP Nelson cannot step in Mark Williams' shoe when it comes about brilliance. But Mark Williams was tried. Mark Williams was found guilty. Mark Williams sat in prison. He did his time. He was released and he took his life and he left St. Vincent and the Grenadines. He found a job. There is life. I mean, no one wanted to see this happen to Mark Williams. No one, especially me, want to see this happen to Ashel Morgan. Ashel is a young lady that I've been in her life since she was a teeny tot. But justice have to be done. I was in Ashel's life since she was a primary school kid going to primary school. I always loved that child. Her mother would tell you, when I left St. Vincent, I used to call her mother just to find out how Ashel and her younger sister were doing, because those two little children were like my daughters. I love those two kids. I cannot call her sister's name because her sister's not involved with anything. So me, of all people, I don't want to see anything bad happen to that kid. But as an adult, she have to be responsible and take the responsibility for her illegal action, for trespassing and burglary, because although she may not pull the trigger, she was an accomplice, she was a conspirator, she aided and abetted the offense, and also she too committed a crime when she was in Mr. John's house. She threatened to shoot him in the mouth. So all of that amount up to burglary. People, When I was a police in St. Vincent and Grenadines, practicing as a police, actively practicing, Ralph Gonsalves get 313 Charles, Cornelius Charles, he's now retired. He get Kenneth John, Scratchy John, I think he's in charge of traffic now, to fabricate charges against me. Took me to court as a policeman for fabricated charges. Don't you know that these things have a way of coming back? I, Alan Palmer, went to court like a man. You understand? And I stood before the magistrate knowing that these charges were fabricated. But I stood before the magistrate like a man. The first time I went to court, and I was planning to do it every time, I went to court in my uniform. I saluted the magistrate. The magistrate was Miss Narayan, Ram Narayan, or something like that, right? She was confused. She said, I said Alan Palmer. I said, I am Alan Palmer, ma'am, your worship. She said, she put on her gravel and say, put off this case for another time. You understand? Put it off for a later date. Because she couldn't understand why the police will be bringing a charge, a simple charge, against one of their own and make him appear before the court as a defendant. Let me tell you something, man. People, I didn't run to, I was working at with Justice Mitchell, the High Court judge. I didn't run to Justice Mitchell to complain. No. I didn't run to nobody and say, oh, they're doing this to me. No, I go to court. And I stand there like a man because that is what I am. Hamilton and Verena Palmer did not bring up a goat. They didn't bring up a child. They have brought me up to be a man. So even when I am being oppressed and victimized, I stand like a man. And I face my oppressors in their eyes. And I look at them and I defend myself. So I'm saying this to say, if Ralph Gonsalves could fabricate, could have members of the police force fabricate lies, charges, take me before the court as a practicing, honest, hard-working police officer, the judge vehicle was not where they say it was. You understand? But I can't go witness for you because I'm trying to go to the British Army, and if I go and witness for you, they're gonna back me from going to the British Army. I say, my brother, you don't have to worry about me. You are a young man. You have your whole future ahead of you. If you want to go to the British Army and think this will hamper you, don't get involved. You do what is needed to get out of St. Vincent and Grenadines. You understand? And this is just the whole fact. Let me see what the people have to say. Selwyn Gould said no justice, no cure. Ricardo Watson is replying to something that Tony says. So let me go back to see let me read from the top so I could have a better understanding of the online conversation that is now going on. Neil Knights have just said, how can we allow these things to happen to us? Remember, Ralph Gonsalves said, he is above the law. He's not above the law. He's not above the law. Don Wilshire is saying it's a hit on the old man. Selwyn Gould is saying this is the kind of actions of the mob organization. That is indeed true. Mine barber because they don't know. Yeah, you are correct, mine. You are correct. No one in their right senses will do that. You are correct. Natasha, you are here. I know I don't have to tell you to share this video. It has already been shared by you. Right? Now, Ricardo Watson is responding to Mike Brown. Let me get to that a little later. I am just going through the comments here, people. We might have to use some discussion on these comments. Watson is saying that he is convinced that demons are on the rampage in St. Vincent and the Grenadines. The PM is telling us to shut up and try to... Yes, that is one of the things he has been trying to do. He has been trying to intimidate the citizens. He wants us to keep quiet because he wants this to be put cast under the rug. It can never be put under the rug. We will not allow it. Gibbs Oliver, you remember your police training well, bro? Of course, Gibbs. I don't want to forget. Now, right. So now let us go down and let us go and read this comment. Now, Mind Barber. The one who is trying to stop the talking is the one who is eating at his table. You are correct. And it's a shame that our people have come so far where they would allow an opportunity that they don't deserve to dictate their consciences and the expression of their consciences. Ricardo Watson, because I am upset with my fellow Christian brothers. I don't bother with Christians, Watson. I don't bother with Christians. People are Christian by name when it suits them. How can people say they are God, watchmen and women, and continue to hear about these evil and remain silent? Ricardo Watson, I don't know. Michael Brown. What is serving a court issue under Mr. John? And he threatened them. No, Michael Brown, if that was the case, right? That would have been on the news long time. But because they have no defense, that is not the case. They went to Mr. John's house and they just decided, well, we have power, we can take advantage of him. It's two SVG, you remember? Father Jesus purge St. Vincent from their sins. Don Wilshire is asking for the purging of St. Vincent and the Grenadines. Ricardo Watson is saying, Mike Errol Brown, the PM make these people look real bad when he tried to make excuses for their criminals and demons. You're correct. You see, and I guess what, you know what he did? He's so stupid. The man is so stupid is that he brought more attention to the whole thing, right? I see Odessa, my world boss is here. Mind Barber. Right, let me go down a little further and read some of the comments that have just been made that I have. How can we allow these things to happen to us? Neil, Rose Charles is saying, she then called up and you know, they are behaving like children. Who first complain? Right. That is not how it goes. That is not how it goes. Ricardo saying the law have two faces in St. Vincent and Grenadines. Alright? One for the hierarchy in the ULP, the rich and the famous attached to the said group, and one for the poor. The law is always measured out in the full length to poor people. You're right, Watson. Mine Baba. SVG has become a lawless and corrupt nation. That some people fold their hands and accept injustice, rape, criminal activities to happen with no accountability. Mine Baba, you are so correct. And I could not have articulated that point any better. Rose Charles. Don't think the citizens of St. Vincent understand the seriousness of this issue. Everybody understand Justice Rose. I mean, they may not understand how far it could stretch in the future and how it could start the cycle or the wheels of criminality turning on a serious note. But when it comes to a person who is being deprived of his rights, I think they fully understand that. Selwyn Gould. If the country keep allowing unjust, soon it will be justice by any means necessary. You're correct. Because let me tell you something. In our country, there are a lot of law-abiding people, and we comply with the law because we are expecting when anyone do us anything, we can go and get redress. But if this is not so, right, we can see things getting totally out of hand. The senator and her sidekicks were trespassing on Mr. John's property. Trespassing is against the law. It's a felony in certain jurisdiction and criminal act in certain. You're correct, Mikey. They not only trespass, they committed the offense of burglary according to the law of St. Vincent and the Grenadines. Whatever it is considered burglary also, and that is what they did. They trespassed into Mr. John's private home, and their intention was to assault him. They actually assault him, and they threaten further assaulting his person in the process. Tony Gunny Christopher, I am hoping for someone from his area. Bring him to the demonstration tomorrow. It would be interesting knowing he supported the ULP. So wait, and you see why it is important that everybody come out? Because we are now just learning that Mr. John is a supporter of the ULP. So it's not about NDP and ULP, right? It's about regular citizens that are being taken advantage of by people who are entrusted with the authority that the country saw it fit to entrust them with. Alan, you remember the chopper man in the 70s? Doug Howard, you don't ask me that. You know I remember the chopper man. You know I know who the chopper man is. My father knew who the chopper man is. Right? Doug Howard, you know who the chopper man is. Me and you had this conversation at length. Doug Howard, you could remember both of us had this conversation at length. When I draw your memories to when Little Chief arrested a particular politician who sits No, I think when the police arrested a particular politician who now sits in the House of Parliament in the 70s, and the little chief says, no, 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 the commissioner then says, little chief was deputy, Doug, remind me, that no, he too nice to be hauling women at Cutlass Point and raping them. They say he too nice, a nice boy, like he can't be doing that. He was nice based on the shade of his skin. And that is how brainwashed our people was in the 70s. Odessa World Boss is saying he is acting above the law. I am allegedly hearing that he says nobody can leave from the green zone. I don't understand that. Clarence, clarify that. I don't understand that one. Clarissa Benson. We need to get rid of him. We need a change. You are correct, Maria Ford. You are quite correct. Clarissa Benson said you would have to pay your own way to leave, and you won't be able to do so as an evacuee. No special privilege when you get to the other country. Oh, I think I'm simpatico Charles, and they not only shot him, but they left him there to bleed to death. Wicked. And that is a thing that most people have not been picking up on. These people have not only kicked Mr. John in the stomach several times, render incapacitating him, because Mr. John even defecate on himself. They also shoot him in his legs, and they leave him there to die. What kind of criminal behavior is this? What kind of criminal people share this video? Oh, he said nobody can at least invest from the green zone. Don't bother with that fella. Doc Howard is saying, Vincy, people, it's 2 weeks. Stand up for that. Stand up for yourself. Let us stand up tomorrow. We'll stand up tomorrow, Doug. And I know you'll be standing with them. He's lucky he's not in the backyard. My God. William Venus, sad, sad, sad. My people, this is basically what we have to say. I went through all of the comments. I see who have shared the comments. I am asking you to share this video so that we can get a large participation turning up tomorrow on the 11th of May, 2021 in Kingstown in St. Vincent and the Grenadines at the Parliament building, where the St. Vincent and the Grenadines Parliament is going to be sitting, where Ashel Morgan, in her capacity of senator, should be attending the meeting tomorrow. We need to have you there because it is important that you come out and show your disgust, your dissatisfaction. Will somebody please pick up Mr. John and ensure that Mr. John is present at the protest, because we can, it is his injury. He is the cause for this protest, but it is our concern. It is a community concern. Holy Love, you confess. Holy Love, I want 10 lines. I will not be late tomorrow. Holy Love, I love you, man. Nice to have you. Right? It's a very sad situation, Doug is saying, and the people should come out and get rid of them. People come out tomorrow. Someone needs to go and pick up Mr. John, bring Mr. John out to the protest. Let the Vincentian people see this is just an old 62-year-old man, an elderly, a senior citizen, one who should have the protection of the Director of Public Prosecution. But instead, he's being treated like a criminal by criminals who show Mr. John and who show the Vincentian people that they are not worthy of the assignment that they were given. They are not worthy and cannot be trusted with even a little bit of power. So people, my people, St. Vincent Grenadines, the most beautiful people in the world, the most resilient, whether you are in a shelter, whether you are in an emergency shelter, come out, go and protest, and walk back into your shelter with your chest hold high, your head up, knowing that you have stood up for your country in a time that your country needs you. Even when you are in a worse situation than many are, you had the guts, you had the courage, you had the will, you had the fortitude, and you went out there, you stood for your country, you protested for your country, because the injustice is getting too hard, too big, too strong. My people, please share this video. Let this video go viral. Let it hit on every door tonight. Let people wake up tomorrow, and if they don't know that there's going to be a protest tomorrow, let them open Facebook and see this video and know that all roads lead to Kingstown at the Parliament building tomorrow at 9 o'clock. If you can get there for 8:30, get there for 8:30. If you can get there for 9 o'clock, get there for 9 o'clock. If you come a little later, come a little later. Show those criminals who have put themselves in power through illegal means that enough is enough. The injustice that is meted out on our people should not be allowed to continue. People needs to be held accountable for their actions. Don't bother with Ralph Conserves. He will be held accountable for his actions. Rape that he has ever involved in, he will be here. He thinks that he can come to America and get political asylum in America when he leaves St. Vincent to evade. But guess what? Political asylum are not given to people who are running away from legitimate persecution. Even though they were granted political asylum, once you file an extradition order that shows that this person is running away from legitimate persecution that has nothing to do with persecution, he will be extradited. I have already done my research. I have already read the law. I have already studied all of these things. No one could ever use political asylum to run away from legitimate crimes that they have committed. Legitimate crimes against, especially in his case, where he was prime minister and where he has stole millions of dollars, where he have raped thousands of ladies, where he have put off thousands of young men, and where he has involved in corrupt practice to fatten his pockets. And guess what? When he came to California, hear how stupid the man is. Hear how stupid he is, right? When he comes to California and he has the FBI protection, he used the FBI, right, as a means of enticing people to oppress me. He don't know that each time he leave America, He don't understand that each time he leaves America, when he comes here, each of his FBI agents have to submit a report as to the activities that he got involved in. Every criminal act that Ralph Gonsalves committed against me when he come to California is documented. Every criminal act is documented. Everyone he used, everything that he does, anytime he misuse an FBI officer, anytime he use one of the agents to oppress anyone, or when they are privileged to this conversation, they have no loyalty to Ralph Gonsalves. The only loyalty the FBI have to Ralph Gonsalves when he come on the shores is to ensure that he leave America the same way he come, that no harm come to him. They are not obligated to keep a secret. They don't keep a secret. They have to present a report. Every criminal act, everyone he hired, every conversation he has in their presence must be reported. They are federal intelligence officers. That is their responsibility, to gather intelligence on American soil. The CIA is responsible for gathering intelligence on international soil. The FBI is responsible for gathering. So when he come here and he commit his crimes against me, he think he's safe. Guess what? When I file to have him extradited, he will be back in service like this. He better find refuge in Russia. And by that time, the Russian will be handing him over. He's not a snull. He's not a snull. They don't need him. He will be a burden on the Russian system, the KGB. He'll be a burden. People, my people. This is your favorite, Timothy Grenadine's favorite and most hated son, the diaspora machismo. It is time for me to go and pray. My evening prayer. Doug Howard. Everything, all of these underage girls, all these underage boys that he come to California and have sex with, little boys, Mexican boys, all of them, everything is documented. He's so stupid, he don't know what's happening. He's so idiotic, he think he can come around and play big shit. Oh, I have FBI behind me. Those are the same people who are going to be witnessing when we file for an extradition order for him. Right? Everything that he did will come up. They will say, well, we have, this is the evidence that you presented, but our intel says he has a history of criminal act against his people. My people, let me thank the Most High for the knowledge, understanding, and the wisdom that he had bestowed upon me. I thank the Most High for giving me the opportunity to come and speak to my people as usual. Thank you, Edith. I love you, my friend Edith. Duncan. All the mothers. I almost forget how it would have been a miss of me. All of the mothers. Yesterday was a day that the world say we are going to acknowledge you. So happy Mother's Day to all of the mothers. This is Mother's Day, but we call it Mother's Week. To all of the mothers who are here with me. To all of the mothers who would watch this. If I didn't write on your post, if I didn't call you up, if I didn't send a text to you, right? I'm saying happy Mother's Day to all the mothers. And to all my brotherings who are here, who have been holding it down as a single parent, I say happy Mother's Day to you. I hope your nipples are not burning, are not blister from you giving breastfeed. That is meant to be a joke. Cathy Clem, my love, how are you doing? I'll talk to you all soon.